or even bother to walk around and check the homework? Huh?
No.
Okay, what other problems are we doing?
25.
25. What?
60.
Six what? 23.
60.
29.
60.
60.
50.
50.
15.
15. And again, you know how this book is written, right? The problems like that are next to each other are very similar. So if you can do one, you can do the next one. Okay, so what's the smallest number here? 23.
15.
Where?
15.
Oh, 15. Not 15. 15. Wait, so everybody can do 7, 9, and 11? I'll walk around the room right now. All 7, 9, and 11, I'll correct it.
No.
I'm gonna look at that side of the room then. Okay then, what? Maybe you should ask 7, 9, or 11 because they're all the same type. Why not pick 11? What? No, you can pick 7. No, too late for doing 7. Okay, let's do 11. Why do I have to ask the questions? You just look at your paper. Did you do it? It's that simple. Oh my goodness, number 11. Cosine theta. Now, we did this problem before, but we only did parts A and B because that was the double angle identity. Now you're just going to, it's the same thing except you're using half angle identity. Negative root 6 over 3. Now what quadrant are we in? You know, instead of writing that, I'm just going to put quadrant pi over 2, the second quadrant, right? If you're between pi over 2 and pi. I'm just going to write that because it's easier for me. Okay, so we draw the picture. So before you do anything, you have to draw this triangle in the proper quadrant. Okay, so cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. That one's going to be negative. And then using the Pythagorean theorem, what is that? 9 minus 6 is root 3. Did I do that correctly? Oh gosh. And make sure you got the correct signs. Look, you got to go left, so minus and top is positive, right? Okay, now what do we have to do in problem C? C says sine theta over 2. In fact, why don't we just write down D already so we don't have to look at the book. Cosine theta over 2. See? Half angle. Don't worry, on the test, going to have all double angle, half angle. Okay? So the first thing you do is you just regurgitate the identity. Plus or minus square root 이수호. Kim.
1 minus plus the square root of 6 over.
No, just regurgitate the identity.
Oh.
In fact, this is how the speed quiz is going to be.
1 plus cosine. Oh wait, is it? Over 2.
Is that correct?
Wait, is
No.
it minus? It's
Yeah,
minus.
it's minus.
Minus.
There you go, minus. See, so you gotta have, this is what the speed quiz looks like, people. You're just gonna fill it in. You're just gonna regurgitate 20 times. Okay, now, first step. You have to figure out the plus or minus. How do you figure that out?
It's where the quadrant.
You have to look at the quadrant of this angle. Oh, you know what? I should have written the thing there. Doggone it. I'll just write it. Or was it like this? Which way did you write it? They wrote it like that. Okay, so, but Mr. Park, this is theta. This is theta over 2. So how can you get theta over 2 from theta? Divide by 2. So just take this thing and divide everything by 2. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 2. Okay, if you're here, let's draw a unit circle. If you are between pi over 4 and pi over 2, if you're somewhere over here, what quadrant is that? That's in the first quadrant. So this is a first quadrant angle. So what is the sign of a first quadrant angle?
Positive.
It's positive. So you pick the positive one. Now, what do I plug in for cosine theta? Well, you just look at this triangle. adjacent over hypotenuse. Now I know some of you are thinking, yeah, but Mr. Park, it just says it right here. Yeah, but when you use a different identity, you might not have that, so you want to just get used to looking at the triangle. And then can I trust you can simplify them? The rest is just algebra. Simplify them. Huh? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so the first thing I would do, I would go square root of 1 plus root 6 over 3 all over 2. And if inside the radical, you have fractions within fractions, so multiply top and bottom by, look, this is 1 over 1, over 3, over 1. What's the least common denominator? 3, so multiply top and bottom by 3. So you got square root of 3 plus root 6 over 6. Now, how do I simplify that? Because, see, this is like a radical 6 in the denominator. You cannot have a radical in the denominator, so now you multiply top and bottom by, what can I multiply 6 by so I can get a square number? So it can come out of the radical? 6, right? So multiply top and bottom by 6, so you can get the square root, I'm just going to go step by step, 18 plus 6 root 6 all over 36. But the square root of 36, you can take it out of the radical and you can get, so square root of 18 plus 6 root 6 all over 6. There you go. That's how you simplify it. Yikes. See, but if that's your only problem, heck, just leave your answer like this, and then I probably only take off 1 or 2, but you cannot afford to get minus 6 because you didn't even regurgitate the identity. That's how you take tests, people. You can withstand minus 1s, minus 2s, but when you get fatal errors, then that's when they all add up. That's when bad things happen.
Like you kind of,
Okay, now, huh?
you're kind of like saying no, at least the gist of it.
Say that again.
Just kind of understand what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because this part here, this is just simplifying, right? We learned how to do that. We could punch it in our calculator if we wanted to. Okay, next one. Regurgitate this one. Lee.
Oh man.
No further questions, Your Honor. Take him away. See? That if you want to do well on this test, you have to start by memorizing all of the identities. Okay, next one. New one.
Plus or minus square root 1 plus cosine theta over 2.
That's right. See, look, if you know sine, then cosine is the same, except it's plus. Are you guys even like looking for patterns and things? No, because I haven't even looked at the identity sheet yet, Mr. Park. Okay, whatever. Now, how do I figure out whether to use the plus or minus? You have to look at the quadrant of this angle. Now, we already figured it out. It's in the first quadrant, right? So what is the cosine of a first quadrant angle? It's positive. So you can use the positive one. Anyway, so like I said, if you don't get the right sign, minus 2. 98 is a very good score, right? What do I plug in for cosine theta? Adjacent over hypotenuse. See, look, it's exactly the same as this problem, except there's a plus sign there. I think you guys can take it from there. So every problem is done that way. You got to draw the triangle, and you got to regurgitate the identity. Every single problem is going to be like that. Okay, so I did 11. You should be able to do 7 and 9 because it's like the same thing. Just draw the triangle, regurgitate the identity, and then plug it in. Okay, next. What's the next number? 15. Okay, 15. Where are we? Oh. Wait, what is this? This is just a continuation then. Hey, this is a continuation. So 15 is the same as that. See? You still want me to do 15 because it's the same as this one? Or you guys want to try it? Okay, I'll just do it then. It's the same problem. Cotangent theta is equal to -2. Secant theta is less than 0. Okay, so the first thing you gotta do is you gotta figure out what quadrant to draw the triangle in. Okay, if cotangent is negative, what quadrants are is cotangent negative? Oh boy. Okay, here, let's go back to the basics. Cotangent is what? Cosine over sine. In order for that to be negative, one of them gotta be positive and one of them gotta be negative, right? So where are cosine, like, one is positive, one is negative? Cosine and sine. Second and fourth. So this tells you you are either in the second or the fourth quadrant, but it says secant is negative. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so cosine gotta be negative then.
So you're in the second.
Into second quadrant. So the first step, anyway, if you don't know, just pick one and do it, then you get -2. You know what I mean? Just get your -2 and then get the rest of the points. But don't just stop. That's bad thing. So cotangent is what? If tangent is opposite over adjacent, what is cotangent? Adjacent over opposite. Right, this is like -2/1, right? So, and then using the Pythagorean theorem, what would this be? Pythagorean theorem. Okay, let's pretend we don't know anything. Okay, no, too late. Let's call that, no, too late. That's box. So using the Pythagorean theorem, box squared is equal to -2 squared plus 1 squared. So that comes up to 4 plus 1, which is 5. So therefore, box is radical 5. You know, you gotta do whatever it takes to get there. If you have to write out the Pythagorean theorem, do it. Do I have the right signs on there? Yes, because I've got to go left, so minus and up is positive, right? Okay, now, this is the same as that, so we're going to find sine theta over 2 and cosine theta over 2. So first step, regurgitate the identity. Plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine theta over 2. We already did it, right? It's written right there. And this one is plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine theta all over 2. Right? Oh, I forgot to put the 2 here. Okay, first step. Figure out that sine. Now, we are in the second quadrant. Now, if you are in the second quadrant, you are between pi over 2 and pi. This is the same as the last problem. So if I divide everything by 2, what are you going to get? Pi over 4 and pi over 2. See, it's the same as the last problem, yeah? So if you're between pi over 4 and pi over 2, what quadrant are you in? First quadrant, right? So if this is a first quadrant angle, then what is the sign of it? It's positive. What about this one? It's positive. They're both positive. Okay, and then all you have to do now is look at this. What is cosine theta? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse all over 2. And then this one will be the same thing. 1 plus adjacent over hypotenuse all over 2. You know what? On this test, maybe you know what I should do? I should just say, if you get this far, I'll give you 4 out of 5 already. And then just 1 point for simplifying. Okay, I'll do that just for you guys. Because this is the part that you need to understand. Simplifying we should have learned in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, right? We should know how to simplify it, but we still have problems. So. Okay, you know what? So let it be written, so let it be done. Okay. If you get this far, you're going to get 4 out of 5 points. Or 3 out of 4 points. Or whatever points they assign to it, you can get everything except 1 point. How's that? That's my best offer, people. Take it right now. Otherwise, I'm going to change my mind.
Deal.
No deal then.
Deal.
I thought the whole class is going to chime in. Please.
Yeah. No, it's like our class in basketball.
And who decided that?
Himself.
23.
No.
23. What do we got here? Okay, see, I did examples. Did you guys follow my examples?
Yes.
I don't think so. Cosine of 165 degrees. Now, on the test, I am going to tell you what identity to use. Like it's going to say, use a sum or difference identity or use a half angle identity, so you know, so you don't have to guess. Okay, so on the test, it's going to say, use a half angle identity to do this. So when you see this, you gotta think, okay, this is equal to, is that equal to half of an angle that I know? 165 is half of what number? Oh gosh. 84? Who said
No.
84?
Okay.
330. We cannot multiply by 2. Okay, apparently not. And is 330 an angle I'm supposed to know? Yes, it has to be, otherwise you can't do the problem. Okay? So, regurgitate the identity. Cosine theta over 2 is plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine theta. See, this is the theta all over 2. Just regurgitate it. Boom. You get points right there. Okay, next step. Now you gotta figure out whether to use plus or minus. So you gotta know the quadrant of this angle. Now this is 165. Where is 165 degrees? Well, here's 180. Where's 165 then?
Second.
Little bit less than that, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in the second quadrant, what is the cosine of a second quadrant angle? It's negative, so you pick the negative one. And then all you have to do now is know cosine of 330 degrees. Where is 330 degrees? It's right there.
Yeah, it's right
What is the x coordinate of that point?
root 3 over 2.
Positive root 3 over 2. So right there, you write that down. I will give you 4 out of 5 points right there. And only 1 point for simplifying. Do you need me to simplify it? Okay, when you have fractions within fractions, you multiply top and bottom by LCD, which is 2. Okay, so you're going to get negative square root of, so this 2 got to be distributed, yeah? 2 times 1. 2 times this, the 2's cancel out. And 2 times 2 is 4, but the 4 comes out of the radical as a 2. Boom, there's your answer. Okay, because on the test, every single problem I write, you're gonna have to use each of the identities, one at a time. So you're gonna have a cosine one, and then you're gonna have a sine one, they're gonna have a tangent one. I'm not gonna give you secant, cosecant, cotangent. You don't have to worry about it. It's sine, cosine, tangent. Okay, but let's just say, what if I did put secant? Then what would you do? What if I put secant here instead of cosine? What would you do?
Change it into cosine.
No. If this is cosine, how do you get secant? Just flip it over then, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna give you that. So. Okay, what's next? 25? Is that the same thing? Secant of 15 pi over 8. So again, on the test, I'm gonna tell you, use a half angle identity. So what you need to do, also secant. So what you wanna do is you wanna compute the cosine of 15 pi over 8, and then when you get the answer, you flip it over.
Okay.
That's what you're gonna do. Okay, so, 15 pi over 8, is that half of an angle I'm supposed to know? 15 pi over 8 is half of what? I'll give you a hint, times that by 2. 15 pi over 4. Why are we having problems with multiplying by 2? Okay, now, regurgitate the identity. Plus or minus the square root of, okay, whose turn is it? Galicio. Regurgitate that.
1 plus cosine 15 pi over 4. 2.
There you go. So it starts by memorizing those identities. Okay, now we gotta figure out this now. Where is 15 pi over 8? Where is that? No, we're going after we get the final answer. Oh, you can flip it over now. You guys want to flip it over now?
No.
Well, you either flip it over now or later.
Yeah.
How about the wait till later? Okay, let's figure out the plus or minus. Where is 15 pi over 8? Okay, here's 16 pi over 8, right? Isn't 16 pi over 8 the same thing as 2 pi?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit less than that. So that's in the fourth quadrant. What is cosine of a fourth quadrant angle?
Positive.
It's what?
Positive.
It's positive, so you pick the positive one. Now, if you don't know, then just pick one. Just pick one. If you get it wrong, -2. 98 is a darn good score, right? But if you don't pick one, if you just leave plus or minus, I'm going to take off 3. At least. That's only if I had a good dessert to eat while I'm correcting it. If I had a bad dessert, I'm thinking 4. You gotta commit to one. Okay, now how do you compute the cosine of 15 pi over 4? This is 2 tests to go.
2 tests.
That angle is bigger than 2 pi, so we gotta reduce it down to something we can work with. Oh boy.
Oh.
Remember what we did? Okay, let's go on the side. How do I compute this? Remember what we did? We changed that to a mixed number. 15 over 4 is 3 and 3/4 pi. So if I subtract 2 pi from it, you get 1 and 3/4, which is 7 pi over 4. Okay, so on the unit circle, 7 pi over 4 is right there. What is the x coordinate of that point? It's right in the middle, people. √2 over 2. There. You write that down on your paper, you get 4 out of 5 points. And then, do you need me to simplify it? So, okay, I'll just do it for funsies. Multiply top and bottom by 2, so you get the square root of 2 plus √2 all over, the 4 comes out of the radical, that's a 2. And then you gotta flip it over, because it's secant, yeah? But I'm not gonna give you that on the test. I just want you to be able to work with the identities. That's good enough. Okay, so then,
flip it over, it's just
so if you flip it over, you can get 2 over this, right?
Okay.
But then you got a radical in the denominator. And that's a problem, right? So that's why I'm not gonna give you that. 27. I'm trying to be nice to you. Sine of negative pi over 8. Okay, ooh, here's an identity that's gonna be on the speed quiz. Sine of negative theta is equal to, who's next in line here? Develop. 50-50 chance. Oh, guess it's not. Negative sine theta. Yes. So this is equal to negative sine pi over 8. So this will be one of the 20 problems on the speed quiz. Anything on that identity sheet is going to be there. Everything. 20 is 20. Okay, now, how do I compute sine pi over 8? It's half of what angle? Pi over 8 is half of what angle? Okay, see, now we're getting it? Now we're getting it. Now regurgitate the identity. So negative plus or minus the square root of
1
Arita.
1 minus cosine of cosine theta
Okay, this is theta, yeah?
over 2.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Now we gotta figure out which one to use. So we gotta know the quadrant of this angle. Well, that's easy. Where's pi over 8? First quadrant, right? And in the first quadrant, everything is positive, so we pick the positive one. So like that. But then you gotta times the whole thing by negative, so it's gonna end up being negative anyway, right? So negative square root 1 minus, all you have to know is the cosine of pi over 4, √2 over 2. Okay, and you guys know how to simplify, right? Multiply top and bottom by 2. Okay, are we getting the hang of it?
Yes.
See how you just regurgitate the identity and then you just plug in the numbers. That's what you do. Every single problem is the same, unless it's different. Okay, 27, 29.
Just a part.
Yes.
During the test, like,
I don't think I assigned 29, did I? I don't think, I'm looking at this, I don't think I would assign that. Who told me 29? Let's rewind the video. What clown said 20? Lee?
Yeah. I didn't know.
Somebody said 30.
I said 60. I said 60. I did not say 21.
You guys don't even know what problems are assigned for homework. Okay, 59. Some clown said 29. Okay, 60. Now we're going to do proofs. Okay, tangent v over 2 is equal to cosecant v minus cotangent v. Okay, so if you have like Mr. Park, I have no idea what to do. Change everything. What?
I think this is 60.
Where?
No, our next one's 59.
Oh, you're right, it's 60, we'll do 60 first then. Okay, change everything to sines and cosines. Okay, now, this one, you got 3 identities, right? And remember, on the speed quiz, you're gonna have to give all 3. On the speed quiz, got this now. Which is the one I told you to do, cheat. Remember, of the 3, the one I told you that is the best one to use.
Oh no.
Who's that nervous laugh? I know that. I know that.
I don't mean that.
What? You,
Yes, sir.
huh?
The second one.
Which is, see, you remembered something.
I see the sheet. I don't know the things. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Arakawa?
One.
I see you looking. Yamashita.
1 minus cosine theta over
That's what we gotta do. What? Is it really that hard to like make flashcards or something? I bet you if you go online, I bet you they have like a flashcard quiz you can do. Okay, what about this one? Change everything to sine and cosine. So this one's easy. 1 over sine minus cosine over sine. And if you make the least common denominator, what goes on the top? Duh, we're finished. Not gonna have anything this simple on the test.
Oh.
Okay, this is like my dog can do that one, right? Well, my dog is pretty smart.
What kind of dog?
Boy dog. I got 2 dogs actually. 59. Cotangent squared v over 2. Why are they using v? I don't like v. Secant v plus 1 over secant v minus 1. Mr. Park, I just have absolutely no idea where to start. Change everything to sines and cosines. Okay, so here, 1 over cosine plus 1. 1 over cosine minus 1. And how do I, when you have fractions within fractions, multiply top to bottom by cosine v. So if you distribute it in, you're going to get 1 plus cosine all over 1 minus cosine. Right? So somehow, I'm going to make that into that. Well, now, Mr. Park, cotangent. We don't know any half-angle identities for cotangent. Well, we know for tangent, and then you flip it over, right? Now, here, let's see if you guys can think ahead. Tangent of v over 2. I just wrote that over there last time. Has 3. Which one do you think I'm gonna do here?
The first one.
Oh, wow. Why the first one?
Because it has both 1 plus cosine.
See, you guys are thinking finally. Plus or minus the square root of, okay, who's next? Young. Regurgitate. No, just do this one then. Do this one. Plus or minus the square root of
1 plus cosine theta over 2.
no.
So close.
Substitution. Lopes.
Sorry.
Pan.
1 minus cosine.
That's what I'm talking about. Don't you guys know your names? Like when somebody calls you, hey, Izuo. Like, what are you thinking? Like, wait, I think that sounds like my name. Is that me? Wait, let me look at my phone. That's me. Hey. No, you guys gotta, this gotta be part of you. Okay, so this is tangent theta over 2. So what is cotangent v over 2? Go be the reciprocal of that. Flip it over. Go. 1 plus cosine v all over 1 minus cosine v. And what happens when you square that radical? You just gonna get 1 plus cosine v all over 1 minus cosine v. Finished! Are we getting the hang of it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Mr. Parker, I'm starting to get it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is memorize the identity sheet. Yes! I thought we had it memorized on Monday. Remember I told you guys? Oh
Sorry.
my gosh. Sorry to bore you. Okay, so here. So when did I come to school and make the practice? I think I made the practice test on Monday. Which means I have to make the test way ahead of time. I'm willing to put in the hard work, are you? So here, practice test. So first page, you get 4 proofs. The proofs can look just like this. Remember we did this one in class?
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Here's that. Okay. See, look, there's nothing like super easy. You're gonna have to do some work. Okay, so the first page is you got. See, but you gotta know double. You gotta know all the identity. Every single problem, you gotta know all the identities. Okay, second page. Okay. Hey, that looks like the quiz we just took. That's right. I looked at the quiz and that's what it did. It just made me proud. Okay. See, look, each one got one of each. Cosine, sine, tangent, sine, cosine, tangent. You got one of each one every time. See, look, cosine, sine, tangent. And then look, compute by using a half angle identity. So I'm actually telling you to use the half angle identity. So you know, and this is the one where you gotta draw the triangle in the proper quadrant, and then you gotta use it for all 3 of these now. And then the last page, you got double angle identity. So you just regurgitate, and then half angle identity, regurgitate after you draw the triangle. Okay, and then look. I stayed extra, look. I gave you the complete solutions because somebody asked for it. Who was it who asked last time?
Jeff.
Yeah, Chan. So not only, so instead of just giving you the answers, I'm giving you the complete solutions. So here are the proofs. And then look, you're welcome. So the test can look just like this. All I'm gonna do, you guys know what I do already. Look, just look. Like here, like here. Instead of 45 and 15, what if I change it to 75 and 15 or something? Should be able to do it, right?
Right.
Or like here, instead of pi over 12, what if I change to sine instead of cosine or something? Should be able to do it, right? Okay, so make sure you can do this practice test all by yourself. Now, maybe the first time through, because we're going to discuss this on Friday, yeah? Maybe the first time through you won't be able to do it by yourself. But if you have to look at the identity sheet, look at the identity sheet. We're going to go over it. And then after we go over it on Friday, then you need to do it again Sunday night, all by yourself. Then you are ready for the test. Without any notes or anything, do it all by yourself. That's what you gotta do. Okay, any questions? Okay, this class ends at 45, so you guys got 22 minutes remaining. Here's an idea, start memorizing that identity sheet.